Icebreaker Snow and the Mystery at Hailuoto is the second book in the Icebreaker Snow series. Written by Timu Lupala, illustrated by Petri Cantonimi, translated by Lola Rogers, and this Arctic adventure is read by Jennifer Bradley. It was an early winter morning in the Strait of Kvarken. Icebreaker Snow was opening a channel to the north for 3 ships that followed close behind him. The air was bright and crisp, and the wind was practically still. The freezing temperatures had formed a thick cover of ice on the sea. All the ports were frozen fast, and the icebreakers had plenty of work to do. Without their help, the ships couldn't get to the ports to unload their goods and take on new cargo. Snow, Castor and Pollux were on call on the Gulf of Bothnia. Icebreaker Steel was on the Bothnian Sea, and Icebreaker Atlas was on the Gulf of Finland. Icebreaker Snow made sure that the ships he was leading through the channel kept far enough apart. No one should fall behind, nor should they come too close and risk bumping into each other. Sometimes the pieces of broken ice in the channel were so thick that it was difficult for the ships he was guiding to make it through. Snow noticed that the Dutch ship at the end of the line was lagging behind. "MS Donau, this is Snow. Increase power to your engines and try to keep up with the ship in front of you." "Snow, this is Donau. I'm doing my best, but here and there it's hard going." I know," Snow replied. "I've sent Harriet the helicopter to check the ice conditions to the north. It'll be easier for her to get an overall picture from the air. Hopefully she'll have good news, and our journey to the north will be easier." "Sounds great. Thanks, Snow," Donau replied. Snow sailed steadily onward, looking for the best route through the ice. He could see on his radar that the sea was covered with ice for a long way ahead. In windy conditions, it would have been difficult to help even one ship. Now he had 3 ships to assist at once, but the weather was on their side. Harriet the helicopter radioed Snow's convoy with good news. "Snow, this is Harriet. Do you read me?" she said over the radio. "Harriet, this is Snow. I read you loud and clear. What's the news from the north?" "Winds and sea currents have opened a channel in the ice about 30 miles north of your convoy. That should let you sail in almost open waters," Harriet answered. "Castor is approaching you from the north, assisting 2 ships. You can exchange ships, and Castor will lead the way to the ports in the north while you return to the south." "Sounds like a brilliant plan," Snow replied. "Let's hope there aren't any unpleasant surprises. At least we have good weather at the moment. Everything is ready for you to land." "Thanks, Snow," Harriet answered, making a sharp turn toward the convoy of ships on the horizon. Meanwhile, Lighthouse Marjaniemi was keeping a lookout beyond the archipelago to the Oulu Channel. She saw icebreaker Pollux approaching the pilot station with the Greek tanker Ergo in tow. Lighthouse Marjaniemi knew that Harry the hydrocopter had been sleeping all morning, tired out from 2 important missions the night before. Harry lived in the shed next to the pilot station, sheltered from the icy wind and snow. Lighthouse Marjaniemi quickly woke Harry up. "Up and at 'em, Harry. Pollux and Ergo are approaching the pilot station. Start your engines and hurry out to help them," she said. Harry heard her voice in his sleep. He stretched and yawned before he answered, Aye, Marjaniemi. Hydro, Harry, at your service." Still drowsy, Harry checked his equipment and quickly started his engines. He was made for heavy-duty service in severe winter weather, and he specialized in traveling on ice. He had a huge propeller in his stern, just like the ones on airplanes. The propeller enabled him to move quickly over the ice. Harry's propeller spun fiercely, and the snow swirled high up into the air as he sped out onto the ice and headed straight for the pilot station. The roar of his propeller made sure that everyone knew when Harry was on the move. Traffic in the Gulf of Bothnia is bustling in the winter, so good cooperation between ships is vital. All ships' courses have to be planned carefully, and everyone should know their whereabouts at all times. Snow approached the large open channel in the ice, which had already appeared on the radar. The journey had gone well, and all 3 ships were nicely lined up behind him. Harriet landed on the helipad on Snow's deck and fueled up for her next flight. Snow knew the Gulf of Bothnia like he knew his own bridge, because he had been working there for many winters. He knew that conditions at sea can change in less than a minute and surprise even an experienced icebreaker like himself. A ship can get caught in the ice or enveloped by thick fog without warning. Snow had saved several ships during his career, some of them in desperate situations. Hydrocopter Harry reached the winter pilot station just in time to meet Pollux and Ergo. Ergo hailed Harry and continued his journey, pulled along on Pollux's tow line. There was so much ice and freezing slush that Ergo couldn't possibly have made it through without Pollux's help. Pollux was a veteran at towing ships. He knew all the islets and skerries along the shore like his own engine room. "How you doing in the ice, Pollux?" Harry asked. "Are your sides greased?" "Thanks for asking. Everything seems to be going smoothly in the channel. It's still easy sailing here in the archipelago, but the situation may be more challenging on the open sea," Pollux replied. "The seas are easy too, from what I've heard. Harriet found a large channel through the ice, where Snow and Castor can easily pass." Maybe for a while, but the southwest wind is getting stronger, and it could close the channel in a matter of minutes," Pollux answered. "Then they'll just have to break through the ice. You icebreakers have the power of 10 ocean liners," Harry said with a smile. From her tower, Lighthouse Marjaniemi could see farther than anyone else. As she monitored the traffic, she suddenly noticed a large, dark shape in the channel north of Hailuoto. But before she could get a closer look, the dark figure sank out of sight under the ice as quickly as it had appeared. Marjaniemi shook her head doubtfully. She knew there was nothing at that spot in Hailuoto Channel except for 14 meters of water. She thought she must be imagining things, but she decided to keep an eye on the spot anyway. She had a feeling something fishy was going on. Snow reached the large ice channel and sailed at an easy pace towards Castor's convoy. Castor hailed him on the radio. "Snow, this is Castor. Do you read me?" "We are approaching you at full speed," Snow answered. "I already spotted you on my radar. We can swap ships in about an hour." The best place to do it is at Lighthouse Marjaniemi." "Perfect. The 2 ships with me can continue southwards in your trail. They're very careful to follow instructions, and I believe you'll get along just fine." "Oh, that's good to hear. You get 3 ships in return to take to the north," Snow answered. "It's the only way to get cargo through in the winter. They certainly need us icebreakers." "They certainly do," Snow thought with a smile. Day was turning into evening. Lighthouse Marjaniemi kept a close watch on the Hailuoto Channel. If there really was something out there, it could cause danger to Pollux and the tanker Ergo, who were quickly approaching the spot on their way to the open sea. As if it had been reading Marjaniemi's mind, the large shape resurfaced, this time reaching even higher above the surface of the water. Lighthouse Marjaniemi stared in amazement at the huge, dark object. It was so far away that it was impossible to see what it was, but it definitely didn't look like an iceberg. What could it be? Marjaniemi decided to warn the icebreakers immediately.
This is Lighthouse Marjaniemi calling all icebreakers in the area. I've spotted something large in the northern Hailuoto channel, and we need to find out what it is immediately. Do you read me?
Thank you for the information, Pollux replied. Pollux was the ship nearest to the northern end of the Hailuoto. The Ergo and I will stop before we reach that point.
This is Snow. We're approaching Lighthouse Marjaniemi from the south. Keep us posted.
Roger, replied Castor. Send Harry the hydrocopter to investigate. I'm sure he can solve the mystery. That is, if you can wake him up. Snow, Pollux, and Castor left the ships they were assisting to wait for their return and hurried to meet the new challenge. The sun was setting behind the western horizon, but luckily the wind hadn't picked up as much as forecast.
Wake up, Harry! There's a special mission waiting for you at the north end of Hailuoto.
Oh, north of Hailuoto? Harry repeated with a sleepy yawn.
It's been 3 years since I was lost there. That time I went to look for the lost boy,
Harry said.
Well, now something odd is going on in the channel,
Marjaniemi answered.
Some kind of strange shape under the ice. It submerged again a while ago. Please hurry up and start your engine.
Will do, Harry answered. Harry the hydrocopter was ready in a jiffy and rushed towards the Hailuoto channel. He had no idea what would await him there. Lighthouse Marjaniemi was monitoring the situation and saw the shape sink again just as Harry reached the channel. Snow was already nearby and spotted Harry.
Did you see anything, Harry?
He asked. He was anxious to solve the mystery.
I just arrived, but I don't see anything,
Harry answered.
What in the world is going on?
Snow wondered. This is getting interesting, Pollux said.
Sure is,
Castor added. Suddenly, Harry got quite a fright. Something was moving under the ice. The ice started to shake and rumble, growing louder and louder. Harry didn't feel the least bit drowsy now. Then, all at once, there came a sound like a clap of thunder, and chunks of ice flew in all directions over the frothy sea. Right in front of Harry, the enormous wreck of a tugboat emerged from the water. Lighthouse Marjaniemi could see it clearly now too. She recognized what it was, an old tugboat that had been lost at sea nearly 100 years ago. The moving, packed ice had detached the wreck from the bottom of the sea and carried it into the Hailuoto channel. Lighthouse Marjaniemi grabbed the radio handset again.
The mystery is solved. It's the wreck of an old tugboat. No one can enter the channel until the tugboat has been moved. Oh, Harry, are you all right? I was mighty scared, but nothing happened to me,
Harry answered.
Does anyone have a suggestion on how to remove the wreck from the channel? We can't wait until spring to do it,
Snow said.
If Pollux, Castor, and I combine our power, we might be able to tow the wreck away from the channel. That might just work,
Castor said.
We can attach our cables to the tugboat and pull with all our strength to get it far enough from the channel. Then anchor it someplace where it can wait for spring.
That's a good plan, Pollux agreed. Harriet can monitor the mission from the air. Lighthouse Marjaniemi turned her bright light toward the Hailuoto channel. Harry stayed behind to help with the removal. Harriet flew around and assisted with her small searchlight, careful not to block Lighthouse Marjaniemi's blindingly bright beam. Snow, Castor, and Pollux arrived at Hailuoto after sunset. The strong beam from the lighthouse reached all the way to the wreck. Harry sought out the best places to attach the towhooks. The old wreck had turned a dark colour over the years and was completely covered in green algae. but it was built of good steel and hadn't rusted much.
"Okay, my worthy icebreakers, let's do it,"
Harry said.
"Snow should stay on the right, and Pollux and Castor can pull from the left and the middle."
Okay, the icebreakers answered in chorus, moving into position. The wreck was bathed in the bright beam of the icebreakers' powerful searchlights. Harriet kept an eye on the proceedings from the air. The icebreakers lined up side by side, reversed towards the wreck, and threw their towhooks carefully into place. Then they turned their bows north and engaged their engines.
"Everybody ready?"
Snow said, taking command.
"Now get those propellers turning. Let's move nice and smooth."
The towing cables popped as they pulled tighter, and soon the wreck rolled into a new position. The icebreaker propellers spun powerfully, leaving a mighty wake behind them.
"With the power we're using, we could probably move the whole Hailuoto island a few miles north,"
Snow laughed.
And ruin my view? Ha ha! Forget it!
Marjaniemi joked. The ice boomed and rumbled as the gigantic wreck of the tugboat glided smoothly along behind the icebreakers. Snow found a spot to anchor the wreck until spring.
"Great job, Snow! It looks good from the air."
Harriet cheered.
"A perfect spot,"
Castor agreed.
"But we'll need to be careful not to crash into it during a snowstorm,"
Harry commented with a yawn. Well, try to stay awake the next time you come through these parts, Pollux chuckled. The mystery of Hailuoto was solved. The wreck of an old tugboat that had lain at the bottom of the sea for decades had caused quite a bit of excitement.
Wow, this was some night,
Lighthouse Marjaniemi mused.
"Yes, indeed. Icebreakers never know what kind of job awaits them. An unforgettable mission,"
Snow said.
especially for Harry,
Pollux added with a laugh. Try to get a good night's sleep, Harry, now that we've solved the mystery.
"Well done," Snow said. "But now we have some ships waiting for us. Full speed ahead. Let's get some water flowing under our keels."
Snow, Pollux and Castor headed off to assist the ships, and Harry went back to the shed at the pilot station for a well-earned rest. Harriet refueled on Snow's afterdeck, preparing for the first ice-monitoring flight in the morning. Lighthouse Marjaniemi smiled contently and kept her light shining over the water until dawn. A new day at sea was about to begin. The end.